You're listening to Video Vela Podcast, episode 15. Today we're talking to you guys about Scream, directed by Wes Craven. And once again, we are back with video, and you guys can not only hear us, but you can see us as well. So, aren't y'all lucky?
Yay!
Woohoo! So to celebrate 4th of July, Logan and I decided to watch Scream. For both of us, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Scream was one of the first, scary movies each of us had seen. Not the first, but one of the first.
It was my first one. Yeah, it was my first scary movie.
Yeah, like I had said, the first scary movie I had, not purposely watched was It, because I, walked in on my sister having, a little sleepover, and they were watching It. And I was definitely afraid of clowns, so that obviously didn't work out well.
Yeah, you told me that. I was confused when you said you were scared of clowns because, I didn't grow up with that fear for some reason.
Well, I don't know what there's to be confused about. They're fucking weird.
I don't know,
I hope I hit the minute mark before I said that.
Well, I know, I had talked to you about it, and, I never saw a male clown. All the clowns I grew up with, or when we're at birthday parties or at school functions or school events, were always female
Why does your school
clowns.
have clowns?
No, yeah, elementary school,
Absolutely not.
like a field day. Y'all have field days?
We had field day, but we did obstacle courses and fun stuff like that. Ain't nobody got a clown.
No, really, not to get
Thank God.
balloon animals and shit.
Nope.
Oh damn. Okay.
I mean, we maybe had someone come and make balloon animals, but they don't got to be a clown. Yeah, I did not like clowns at all. No, thank you. They're just freaky, and I don't care if they're male or female. I don't like them.
Did you like Ronald McDonald?
Yeah, but that's not really a clown.
He is a clown.
Yeah, but
he's America's clown.
I've never heard him called that. But yeah, that's different. I also don't think I've ever seen someone dressed up as Ronald McDonald.
No.
Just as I don't mind statues of clowns are fine, but those have you seen the figurines that people have in their house? Usually it's people that have porcelain dolls.
Oh, the cute little porcelain figurines.
Cute. No.
Well, they don't. I don't know. They don't look scary.
No, they're
to me.
not scary. They're weird. I also my grandmom used to give me and my sister porcelain dolls every Christmas or birthday as collectibles, and they would stay in their case, and my parents wanted us to display them in our room, our collection of porcelain dolls.
Oh yeah.
I went through so many phases where I'm I don't like them. They're so creepy. I want to put them away. I don't want them anymore.
Insert porcelain dolls photos here.
Yeah, the creepy ones. But yeah, I see that a lot in the antique shops we go to.
Yeah.
Those old school
the
clowns.
puppy dogs. Do you remember the puppy dogs? People used to collect different types of puppies as porcelain puppies.
Oh, porcelain puppies. Yeah,
I knew someone who did that.
Porcelains are huge collectibles. But yeah, anytime we go to an antique shop, without fail, there's always some freaky ass clown porcelain shit.
Yeah, no, that's.
It's carnival themed porcelains, and they have the little clown and whatever else. But yeah, so the first movie I ever accidentally saw in a scary movie or horror film was It, which didn't go over well.
Yeah, Scream was my first scary movie. I mean, I know we might have talked about it on maybe the Shining episode or something like that, but so this is 1996, so I was 6 years old when it came out, and my sister was 4 years ahead of me, so she's 10, which is probably normal appropriate age to start watching horror movies, I guess. I don't know.
I think it just depends on the kid.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people.
I mean, there is definitely way too early. I think you at least should be first grade and older to kind of softly watch scary movies. But it also depends on the kid. But definitely any younger than that, I think it's, I don't know. I'm not trying to screw up
I remember
dreams and stuff.
She would be watching it in her room, and I'd come in, watch some of it.
Oh yeah, that's how
watch some of it. Come in, watch some of it. It'd get too scary, then I'd leave and run away. And then I come in, and it was usually, I think it was my sister and her friend Britta.
Oh yeah,
and that was they were always thick as thieves when they were younger, and she was always the girl that was always over the house. And those are usually she was the one that would go to the movie store with us and we would pick out a movie.
Yeah, so my family, and I told you this before, but my family had a Blockbuster down the street. So every Friday we would go to Blockbuster and get a movie and pick out candies. And like, of course, I was a little kid, so it'd always be like some sort of Disney movie or like a Barbie movie or
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, something girly.
I ended up watching
Or
a lot.
funny.
My sister picked out a lot of our movies when I was little.
Oh, see, my sister was allowed to pick out one, and I was allowed to pick out one, and then my parents picked out one that they would like watch after we went to sleep.
Well, like when I was like 4 and 5 and stuff like that, we weren't that far of a difference where it's like mainly like she picked out because
Me and my sister are 6 years apart, so.
well, Video Villa, which where we got the name from and stuff like that, but they were unfortunately like they were one night rentals. And
It was like Redbox.
it was a little it was the hometown independent video shop. Don't get me wrong, they were great. They had looking back now, like they had everything. They had everything, but they only had like 1 or 2 copies of everything.
Yeah.
So 9 times out of 10, the movie you want got rented already by the
Yeah.
time you get in there, because movies came out on Tuesdays, which I didn't figure that out until I got older. People rent movies on Friday, but that movie came out on Tuesday for you to start to be able to rent it. When I started working at the sound shop, the CD store, because we
Yeah.
sold CDs, DVDs, and video games. That's all the new releases were always Tuesdays. They're like new albums and movies always came out on. Well, I think CDs came out on Wednesday, movies came out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But that was the thing is like, unfortunately, like, at the time, it was the only video shop. So, you better,
Yeah.
if you didn't get there right when they opened at like 4 or 3 o'clock on Friday and got the copy of Scream when it first came out.
Yeah. You're shut
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was the very first scary movie I watched. And again, same thing. My sister was having a little sleepover and being like, or my older sister was having sleepover and me being a little sister, I just like barge in because I want to join in on it. And I'd sit there and I remember like my sister was like, get out. We're watching a scary movie and you don't like blah, blah, blah. And of course, why would I listen? I mean, that's just like little sibling or younger
No, you
sibling
don't listen.
syndrome. And you're like, no, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. It wasn't okay. Because I also sat there terrified and watched the majority
Oh, I
of
had
it.
nightmares.
Yeah. And then, Scream was the second one, and then The Shining was the third.
the third one. Yeah, this movie gave me, like, I get it, like,
Scream didn't bother me. For some reason, like,
the ghost face, like,
I liked it.
it scared the shit out of me. But it's just the fact of, like, I was so little. Mind you, I had seen violent stuff at this point. Like, I used to watch violent action movies. But 9 times out of 10, the violent action movies I used to watch, like, they weren't Predator.
Yeah.
Like, Predator is, like, gory violence.
Yeah.
What's called the stuff I used to watch was more like comedy violence. Like I told you, like I think we were Beverly Hills Cop, like Gonna Get You Suckers and stuff like that, and Low Down Dirty Shame, like that kind of like stuff, like where it's more comical but really cool violence, cool action scenes,
Cool violence.
well, like like Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, like the Quest and like the Kickboxer, like they're not really gory action movies. At this point, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger later stuff, which like a lot of that stuff turned down the violence. His earlier career, he had a little bit more violence in it and like gore, but his older stuff didn't really. So that's the shit I was used to, and for me seeing this, like it was, I don't know, like it just stuck with me. I remember going to bed at night, closing my eyes, and like looking in the corner of my bedroom.
Oh, and seeing Ghost's face.
Closing my eyes and seeing Ghostface, but I still seeing my corner. It was the weirdest thing in the world. It's like I didn't close my eyes. Like I closed my eyes and he appeared. I don't know, but this movie, hands down, is probably one of the. I would say this is probably one of the best introduction slasher films of the '90s. If you're going to talk about the '90s.
Yeah, I used to like the Scream mask that had the pump blood.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, I had one of those, and I had I used to be really into the Grim Reaper. So I had a Grim Reaper mask that did the pump blood with I think it's like a heart or some shit like that.
The Grim Reaper, and it's weird because the Grim Reaper essentially looks just like Ghostface minus the mask. It's just different, and also he has the hatchet or whatever it's called, the hook.
Scythe.
Yeah. Grim Reapers freaked me out.
They could be pretty scary. Like I remember watching Scrooge.
It's just ominous and just like they're creeping around.
Remember when we watched Scrooge? It's kind of like a retelling of the Christmas Carol with Bill Murray.
Yeah.
That Grim Reaper. Because I was really into that movie because my dad was a big Saturday Night Live guy, so we watched any actors that was on Saturday Night Live. We pretty much watched all those movies. And that Grim Reaper is pretty scary. Pretty scary. That freaked me out a little bit. What was it called?
Courage the Cowardly Dog freaks me out.
No, dude, there was some.
I still don't like Courage the Cowardly Dog.
What was it? Shit. Oh my God. It used to be this TV show. Something in Big Head or something like that. I can't remember. It was on TV and it was the fucking weirdest shit. It was that time
What was it? I was a huge MTV kid.
This was like during the 90s, like early 90s, where they used to have animation on MTV, like Aeon Flux and shit like that, and the Max. That was pretty fucking creepy.
What were you saying was creepy?
Something Big Head. It's two names. It's so and so in the Big Head, and it was a guy that had a humongous brain, and his head was huge or something like that. The brain and the big head, or something like that.
Pinky and the Brain?
No. I
was like, that wasn't creepy.
No, that's Animaniacs.
Yeah.
No. This was definitely more for a older audience that I should have been watching.
That's just like Adult Swim late at night. They had
Adult
freaky.
Swim I loved Adult Swim. Adult Swim was great.
Yeah, they had freaky stuff on there, and sometimes I'd like creep downstairs, and my dad would be like watching Adult Swim and just weird shits on. No,
Adult Swim was great. I remember when it first started, and the little promos where it shows like the pool and like kids out, Adult Swim, kids out of the pool. Like that was pretty cool. I remember watching that at Cam's house.
Oh,
yeah. That was like Cam was like my friend that knew shit before I knew shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Cam, if you're listening, hey.
Like he was on top of things and he informed me on things.
Yeah.
But I also like Cam had like high speed internet. I had dial up and I was like, well, I didn't even get on the internet if you got dial up. Because we lived out in the countries, it was so slow as shit.
Oh yeah, that's like Sierra always had, which is my cousin, always had like really cool games and stuff. Like she had the Polly Pocket desktop game for your like Windows PC. And I loved that game. So we'd always sit in our parents' office and play Polly Pocket.
But yeah, he was the first person who like showed me Adult Swim. And a lot of things like growing up, like he was the friend that like he knew stuff. Like he bought like new toys coming out. Like he bought Toy Fair magazines and like oh dude, there's toys coming out. I'm like, oh shit. Or like like hey, like he like for example, like you can't see it's off screen, but I have my Dragon Ball Z collection over there. But you can't see. But like he knew, like I remember watching Dragon Ball Z and like seeing Super Saiyan Goku for the first time, but he already knew who Super Saiyan Goku was. Yeah. Because he was into that kind of stuff. Like I don't know, like I was just so far from that stuff. So he was my like word on the streets. Back to Scream though.
Now that you know a little bit about our lives.
But back to Scream, like, yeah, when I say this is like the best introduction slasher for the 90s, because I was doing research. A lot of people say like it revamped, everyone's going to say it revamped the slasher genre and stuff like that, which it did. And I was like, okay, well, let me see what kind of movies were actually coming out in the previous years and that year and stuff like that. And it is true, like, there wasn't a lot of good slashers like coming out. Like I think 1990, I could be wrong, but I believe 1993 got Jason Goes to Hell. 88 or 89, you get Jason Takes Manhattan. You have Halloween 4 and Halloween 5 in this time frame. But those are the major people. I mean, major franchises.
Literally, the only scary movies I remember from my childhood are the three first ones I watched. Like, I don't ever remember running. Well, also, my, like, family isn't huge, like, horror people. My dad even has said that. Like,
I talked to your dad.
He doesn't like the jump scares or, like, the adrenaline, like, on your seat, edge of your seat type stuff.
Yeah, he says it stresses him out.
Yeah, I agree.
Which, I mean, I understand, because some scary movies can be stressful. I get that.
Well, because you get so into it. My dad's someone that gets really into the things he watches. So when you're talking about scary stuff or climactic things, when you're someone that just by nature gets really into stuff, it does stress you out and it does like put you on edge. So not really growing up in much of like a scary movie household. I just remember the first three I watched. But yeah, like we never did the whole Jasons or, Friday the 13th or Halloween's or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, when I was looking back, the major horror movies I can think of this time frame, like so we got Leprechaun, so we got a new Leprechaun
Oh
franchise.
God, I remember that.
We got Candyman, the first Candyman, and I think within that time frame, Candyman 2 came out within '96 or something like that. I can't remember. So I mean, those movies are great. Like the Candyman movie,
I forgot
Candyman is
Leprechaun
amazing.
even existed.
Yeah, but I understand. Like, it is true. Like the slasher genre was dead, and this revamped it. But I will say, a lot of those slashers that follow this movie, I think they're garbage. Nothing against. Like I said, I understand people can like them. I take back garbage. That's a mean word. I understand people like them. I just don't like them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, for example, I feel like the exception, which a lot of people will say, which I agree, is I Know What You Did Last Summer, because that was a well-made movie.
Oh yeah.
The idea and the concept, which a lot of people ripped off, which was based off the book or whatever. So like, it's not like completely original. But the concept was good. That was a good concept for a slasher. So I do like it to that degree, but watching it, I'm not like really into it.
Yeah, Scream also started the parody series, which is Scary Movie.
Which
literally anytime I talk about Scary Movie, one of them is engraved in my head. I've told you this a million times. I don't know which one it is, but it's where the old lady is bedridden and she becomes like cursed and vomits everywhere.
I don't remember that one.
I think that's that one, or it's a fever dream.
I just remember, to be honest, I remember the main things that you can think of for like the first one, with I think it's Karma Electra running.
Well, yeah, I don't know that one. I don't know which or which, and they and the implant falls out. Yeah.
I think it's Karma Electra. I'm pretty sure it's Karma Electra.
I don't know. But you have that one, and then you have like Take My Strong Hand.
Yeah, that's the second one.
Yeah, and then you have the old lady that's like gross and vomits everywhere. That's fucking weird.
Are you sure you're talking about a Scary Movie?
I might not be.
Because there is a old lady that's really gross looking that vomits, and that's or is it no. Let me erase that. Yeah, never mind. You should probably talking about Scary Movie. I was going to say, like, are you talking about Drag Me to Hell? But I'm pretty sure you haven't watched Drag Me to Hell. I mean, I don't think it's the old lady who vomits everywhere. 9 times out of 10,
the things I've seen that I don't want to see are just because I just was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, you used to say it's like people would want to watch these movies, and you were the only one who didn't want to watch it, so you would just but you wouldn't.
I'd lose by default. Or sometimes I just like wouldn't say anything because like no one wants to be the person that's like, well, I don't want to watch this. Do we have to watch this? And I'm not going to be that person, so I just shut up and watch it.
Yeah.
Now that I'm an adult, I'm like, I'm not fucking watching this. I'll go do whatever I want to do. But like as a kid and a teenager, you're just like, okay. Just like I watched The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, that one's for you. If y'all don't know Becca, the fact that she watched that movie is ridiculous because I could never get her to watch a movie like that.
No, and I don't ever want to watch it again.
And the fact that she watches it.
Sat there disgusted about it. Because like, what the hell? Yeah.
But yeah, so like this movie.
While you do that, I'm going to look up the old lady that vomits everywhere.
But yeah, Scream was great. A great Wes Craven flick. Yes, you bring up the Scary Movie thing, which a lot of people know, but it was originally going to be called Scary Movie. Mm-hmm. But then they changed the title to Scream. I've got a couple like my VHS Wes Craven movies. I don't have like Hills Have Eyes or like The Last House on the Left. But I've got Deadly Friend, which apparently...
Yeah, so it's Scary 2 in the Exorcist scene. We will plug in a clip here.
There you go. But yeah, I have Deadly Friend and Vampire in Brooklyn, which I love because I think the movie's awesome, but it's not well... A lot of people don't like it. And then Deadly Friend, which Wes Craven apparently was not happy with that movie. And he kind of like... Not let's say disowns it, but like really regrets it. But I actually like it. I think it's really good. What's called? I was just watching some of it today before we got on, and I think there's an awesome scene where like a woman gets a basketball thrown at her and her head explodes. It's just like ridiculous. It looks awful. It's horrible, but it's still hilarious. And then there's another scene.
Oh, that's like my favorite part about Scream is how he runs around like the Grinch.
Yeah, you said that. You made that comment. Which is true.
I picked this movie out, okay? So I was down to watch this movie, and it's because there's weird, stupid shit happens, and it's just funny.
The part that I don't understand, and I don't know if this is true or not, but like who is the person who's constantly following Sydney in the outfit? So that's the thing is like if throughout the movie there's in the backyard at Tatum's house.
Yeah.
What's called at the convenience store.
Yeah.
The in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like this I wonder which one like who was it? Was it Stu or was it Billy?
Could have been anybody. It could have just been a whole separate actor.
That's what I know. What I was thinking was like, I wonder if that even is Ghostface or if it's just some random people dressing up as Ghostface running through town, stalking her.
Oh yeah, probably just like weird her out.
Because you got to think about like, first off,
because you also even have the people in the school that start wearing the mask just to be
who's
funny.
gonna walk in? Okay, first off, if you're working at a convenience store, I'm sorry, regardless if you like don't really give a shit about your job, you're gonna notice someone walking in. And back then, people didn't have fucking like actual cell phones to text and stuff.
Yeah.
So you're gonna see someone walking in a complete Halloween get up and be like, "That don't look right," and then you're gonna say something. And it's just so and that part of the movie is just like I feel like it's just so like if you think about it.
I don't know
it's weird.
though, because nowadays when everything goes like viral and stuff, there are people out there that truly just mind their business, and they're just like, I don't know, whatever.
Not my problem.
Yeah, not my pay grade. So you never know.
But back to the movie. Yeah. So this movie, what'd you think about the soundtrack? Did you ever listen to the music as it played throughout the movie? There's a specific like score. I don't know if you noticed it. Like, if I bring it up to you, if you heard it, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I remember hearing that." But like,
Yeah, I mean the music's okay. I like some of the music.
the score for the movie, I really like.
Again, I like this movie just because the bloopers. This is actually a scary movie I like. Meaning like just
bloopers?
not the bloopers, but like the funny stuff that happens.
Oh, okay.
I
I was like, "Are you seeing bloopers?"
No. I mean, they probably are somewhere.
But Mark Batrami's score, I guess that's how you pronounce it. I'm not good with names, so sue me. But
Well, it's also Marco, not Mark.
oh, Marco, whatever. I
Whoever you are.
listen here. I'm dyslexic and I don't remember names, so I write them down and I say them badly. So, he did like the Hellboy score, the Mimic score, the Faculty. He went and he did The Cursed, which a lot of people don't like. That's a Wes Craven movie a lot of people like. I actually like it. Yes, it's not a great werewolf movie, but you liked it. That's the one with Christina Ricci being the.
Oh yeah, it was okay.
Oh, I thought you liked it.
I really like Christina Ricci.
Yeah, so you like it. But yeah, that I like that movie. But this was his actually first movie that he actually did the soundtrack, the score for the music, and it was based off Danny Rollins. Kind of like he was inspired by like the Dollar trilogy, like Fistful of Dollars or like The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. And stuff like that. Like it's like almost like a Western. Like he never like really watched horror movies, so he just kind of like did this new like industrial, like almost like Western thing, which it works. It's pretty cool. I actually like it a lot. I actually have the Good, Bad, and the Ugly soundtrack over there. And that's music that's really, really cool. Like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But the movie was turned down by Wes like twice. He wasn't really comfortable with doing the movie. It took him some convincing. They said, and I don't know if this is completely true, but they were saying like George A. Romero, Sam Raimi, and Robert Rodriguez were also in line to direct the movie. That could be true. I don't know, but like they really did want Wes to do it, and then finally, on the third request, he did say he would do it with like
Third time's the charm.
With 2 weeks. Well, that's like who was it? Michael Keaton. Same thing. Michael Keaton was asked like twice to do Beetlejuice until he's like, okay, I'll do it, but I don't get this character, so I'm going to kind of make something up and tell me if you like it. And they were like, it worked. Yeah. He came up with the idea to like how his face. He's like, what if we put like some like make me look like molding or something like that? And he just did this character like we like it, and it's an iconic character now. But yeah, he definitely wanted Drew Barrymore to be in part of it. And then a fan, like a 11 or a 10 or 11-year-old kid, a fan that he saw, came up to him and told him that he loved his movies, but he told him basically he had been kind of soft lately because This is the guy that did the original Hills Have Eyes and the Last House on the Left. Like, these are pretty rough
I've
movies.
also seen the Last House on the Left.
Yeah, these are pretty, like, the remake or the original?
I don't even know.
Both. I mean, I love the remake. I think the remake's awesome.
Again, like, my core teenage years were spent just watching movies I did not want to watch because I wasn't going to be that person. So I just sucked it up and watched them. So I've seen a lot of them, and I just write it off like it never happened. Pretty much.
This was originally going to be the lead character was actually going to be Drew Barrymore, but she ended up not wanting to play the lead, and she thought it would be a better idea if she got killed, like within the like almost like a Psycho scenario.
Yeah.
Where you think this person's going to be the lead, and then they get killed off in the first like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Of the movie, or 10 or 20 minutes of the movie. And she thought it would have much of a bigger impact because she was tired of watching movies where this lead, is going to last till the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And throwing her as the big name actress in this movie.
Yeah, she only lasts 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean that's really well done. I mean, if you think about it.
And also, like, they had really good actors in this in general. Like,
the acting in this movie is very well
like
done.
Matthew Millard, from Scooby-Doo. And then you also have from Charmed.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember her name. I wrote it down, but what was it?
Is
Rose
it Neve?
McGowan?
Oh,
McGowan?
Oh, yeah.
Tatum.
So she's in Charmed, and then you have the girl from Friends.
Yeah.
So, like, all together, like, it's some really good actors that are really enjoyable to watch. I really like Charmed.
I never watched it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, my mom watched it, so I always watched it.
I know, like, I do remember it was very popular because, like, it was Charmed and, like, Buffy and Angel.
Yes,
I remember those,
love
like,
Buffy.
3 movies that were very, very popular.
Yeah. I should rewatch that. I did start rewatching Buffy, like...
I like the movie.
Right before COVID.
I like the movie.
Yeah, we've watched the movie. But yeah, right before COVID started. Ew, the C word. I started rewatching the original, like, Buffy show. It's good.
The voice by Ghostface was played by an actor named Roger Jackson. And
I love Powderpuff Girls.
Oh, you saw
Mojo
that?
Jojo.
Yeah, he's Mojo
Jojo. Yeah.
I thought you would find that fun.
That's when Logan and I first started hanging out. We sat down and watched Powderpuff Girls.
Powerpuff Girls is a great show. I don't care who you are. It is fantastic. I
don't care either. I'll watch it again and again.
No, it's good though. Like, especially the first run.
Yes, it's so good.
It is good.
It makes my heart happy to watch stuff.
And
like
the funny thing is, like, if you watch it as an adult, like, there's a lot of really funny things. Like, their dad. Like, there's some low key stuff in where their dad.
Oh yeah,
and he gets like extremely angry for no reason. It's
also like the mayor's wife is just like you just
is it
see,
his wife?
I don't know, secretary. And you just see tits all the time.
Yeah,
like, that's all you get out of her.
Yeah, you never see her head.
Yeah.
There's that one scene in the very first episode where, like, her hair is like setting on her chest or something.
Yeah.
It's something like, it's a weird, like.
What I should do is we should do a branch off of this and me just do fun shows like that. But yeah, so I didn't know that until I just saw the notes that Roger Johnson was also from Powderpuff Girls.
Yeah, I mean, he was a famous voice actor and he did a bunch of other stuff, but that was the one thing that I wrote down. I was like, oh, Becca would like to know that he did the voice of Mojo Jojo. But yeah, this is movie, and I always say, yeah, but this, whatever. But this was like a love letter to the 70s and 80s horror films, slashers.
Oh, nice.
I mean, you can tell, like, obviously they bring up a lot of movie. Like, they bring up...
the janitor's dressed as Freddy.
Yeah, well, that's Wes Craven.
Yeah.
So that's Wes Craven dressed up as the janitor. Yeah. They bring up... let's see. They bring up Prom Night a lot, Halloween. They talk about Evil Dead in it.
Yeah, they talk like they're obsessed with scary movies. Essentially, they're killing people because they're obsessed with scary movies, and they wanted to make their own scary movie.
Yeah, they did talk about Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Yeah.
And what else is there? There's Terror Train.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd never say Halloween.
No.
Because they play Halloween, and that's their big scene where they're like, when we see Jamie Lee Curtis's tits, he's like, not till Train places in 1983.
Yeah.
It was originally actually going to be an NC-17 because they didn't like the teenagers stabbing each other, like the teenagers killing themselves.
I like kids on kid crime.
Yeah. So there was a couple of scenes
Yeah,
that
that
like
is
change up a lot.
risky.
They had to change up one scene like 9 times for them to actually get their approval because
Yeah, like when Billy and Stu start stabbing each
that's
other.
a lot
and
what
stuff
they were
like
having
that.
problems with and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
that's a little risky to put out there.
Yeah, because I mean it's kind of like I mean now it's like no one gives a shit. Like you got the Hunger Games where you got like a 16-year-old boy kill a 12-year-old.
Yeah,
That movie fucked me up, by the way.
Not my jam.
The Hunger Games.
I don't watch it. Don't care. Not my jam.
It's
Again, not a teenager anymore.
Well, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. I actually like it. But like, man, like when those kids are killing kids,
No,
like that, like I was like, shit, this is like
gross.
heavy. But
Anyways,
that's maybe a lot of the stuff that I had to talk about. I mean, anything else, did you find interesting about the movie that you want to talk about?
no, just that Ghostface runs around like the Grinch.
Yeah,
Cue that video.
the video.
Comparison. It does. Like in the very first scene, he is hunchback like a shrimp and high knees when he gets into Drew Barrymore's house.
He's
running in the background.
because he's like bent
Hunchback,
over, looking out,
high
looking through the
knees, and running. Yeah, or tiptoeing.
Yeah. Now, there's one thing.
Definitely, please cut out me doing that.
There's one thing that I did notice about the movie, and I Googled it and I couldn't find it. Maybe I didn't Google hard enough, but like I didn't know if it
Google
was a throwback or like a little shout out to prom night. But like I noticed like the Ghostface's uniform or whatever you want to call it, costume, is like kind of shiny.
Oh yeah, at one point it's literally straight up glittery.
Yeah, that's in the. I was going to bring that up, but that was in the garage scene, and I was like, "Is this like a throwback to like prom night?" Because he didn't have just a normal ski mask; it was a glittery ski mask. So I was like, I wonder if that has something to do with like prom night. Like I don't know.
Maybe, just small things. But yeah, so I am gonna hit us with the synopsis. On the back, it's real vintage when it's all tore up.
That's my bad copy. I got a sealed copy, but I just grabbed that one.
Okay. So 2 of the reviews, one by Los Angeles Times, says sensational, terrific entertainment. And then Washington Post said a clever thriller. So it says, a crowd-pleasing smash hit with a sizzling cast. Critics are calling Scream the hippest thriller of the year. After a series of mysterious deaths, a seemingly peaceful community becomes a place where no one is safe and everyone is a suspect. That's when an offbeat group of friends rally to unlock the town's deadly secrets and get caught up living in a lively mix of thrills, chills, and surprises. Featuring all-star talent including Drew Barrymore, Courtney Cox, Neve Campbell, Skeet Ulrich, and David Arquette. This strikingly original and entertaining motion picture delivers non-stop, edge-of-your-seat excitement and fun. I forgot the craft. Ta-da! Yep, and that's the back.
I don't think you have to show it to them.
Well, now they see it.
I like that cover, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't know, like, to be honest, like, I don't ever remember seeing the VHS, but I didn't know it actually, like, that's how this is probably, this could be like a redone version or something like that. I mean, I'm sure this isn't there. Well, yeah, it's got behind the scenes featurettes and stuff like that. So it's probably like a redone, not the original.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this movie was well written. Kevin Williamson did a very good job at writing the movie. I think he did a great job. Like it's easy to follow. It is witty at times. I think it definitely is a above. It's like it is a like it's like a kind of like a high tier slasher. When I would say like high tier, I don't mean like Academy Award winning, but I mean like this is a movie that you can put on and like a lot of people that aren't really into scary movies can still enjoy it.
Oh yeah, because it's not scary.
I mean,
It's more of a
really not
game.
scary. Rewatching as an adult, it's not really
Like there
scary,
isn't really any, and even as a kid, it didn't really like scare me that I can remember.
There's not a lot of. There's only
There's
one
not
scene
really
with
any
gore.
jump. Well, not only that, but like there isn't really any jump scenes. Like, he's gonna be there.
Yeah.
And and even like the last part where Billy and Stu are like stabbing each other and stuff. That's that's the most gore you get. And then when Tatum gets shut in the garage door, which is like super duper fake.
Well, then at the beginning with the, I think they said his name was it Steve, her boyfriend, who gets gutted. That was like the most gore you got with the intestines and stuff like that. Like if you think most of the movie's going to...
Oh yeah, and she's hanging from a tree.
Yeah, if you think most of the movie's...
I reject the fact that I said it's not that much gore.
Well, if you think most of the movie's going to be like that, you can... It gets all the gore mainly outweigh at the very beginning of the movie.
The first 5 minutes, and then it's just like smooth sailing from there.
Yeah.
Besides then, like I said, then the end part where they're stabbing each other, which you don't really see much of it. You just know that's what they're doing.
No, and you can tell because like I can see where they make some cuts, but you hear Billy stab Stu a lot, but then it cuts away and you just see Nev Campbell's face, and then it cuts back and he's got all these stab wounds. I'm sure those were actually filmed. And that's probably the shit they had to take out at the end to get the actual rated R rating. But I mean, it is very fun. It has became a huge franchise. I mean, Wes came back to direct all of them. Pretty much. I mean, 4, and he stopped at 5 because unfortunately he passed away, and then didn't do 6. But it's became a well-made franchise.
Oh yeah.
And it's cool. I mean, Ghostface is fucking cool. He's a cool killer. He's a cool, like, Michael Myers is cool. Jason's cool. Freddy Krueger's cool. Like it's.
I'm smiling because I just keep thinking about like no, you hang up from Scary Movie. I think I like Scary Movie more than I like Scream, but whatever, that's fine.
But yeah, no, I think this movie, when you brought it up to review it, I think that was like, yeah, that's a good one. We should review that one. To be honest, get Becca to watch any scary movie is a blessing. So like the fact that like
I'm never watching it again.
I know, that's fine.
Once was enough when I was in elementary school. But yeah, so obviously we talked about the opening scene. Drew Barrymore gets nixed pretty quickly, and
well, I really like this scene a lot. Like how the premise is really cool. You got a person, you got a.
It's that scary Home Alone feel where you're like, who wants to get a prank call? Because like prank calls were super popular at that time, and who wants you're home alone. And the last thing you want to get is a prank call while you're home alone. And then at that, like a really creepy prank call.
Yeah, I mean, because if you all look back, like when a stranger calls, I mean, that's very like suspenseful movie and stuff. But this is a little bit, this is taking up next knowledge. I mean, next
have you ever
level.
been like a kid home alone and someone knocks on the door just about shit bricks?
I mean, if someone.
Home alone knocks on the door, you just don't answer.
First off, if I'm home alone growing up, where I live and someone knocks on the doors, 9 times out of 10 they're lost.
Oh yeah, you're in the middle of nowhere. I've always lived in like either the city or the suburbs. But yeah, so it's a very good opener. It's very fast paced. Like she's home alone, and the thing is, every time it happens to one of the girls, which are the majority of the people that die, they always think it's their boyfriend.
Yeah,
they
think it's your boyfriend.
Stop.
Yeah, they
stop.
Don't,
Why are you doing that? Yeah, and then it ain't their boyfriend. Obviously, considering two of the boyfriends are Ghostface. But yeah.
Well, it's where, I guess when you find out later in the movie, it's her ex-boyfriend who's calling her, because Stu actually used to date Drew Barrymore.
Oh,
you find that out when they're like, hey, didn't you used to date her?
Yeah.
When they're talking about the water fountain or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is a really good kill. I like this kill. I think it's great. The whole her crawling outside on her hands and knees trying to call for help is super suspenseful. Even like her parents literally walk right past her, not even looking at her. By the way, I don't know who in the hell is living in these fucking houses. I didn't grow up with anybody who had houses that nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I did grow in a small town in Tennessee, but still, like, these houses are, like, ridiculous. Every house in this fucking movie is huge. Everyone's got a humongous bedroom. Like,
the one house that I really, really want is Sabrina the Teenage Witch's house.
Yeah.
That's such a cute house. But yeah, they are in these like massive houses. It's obviously like I think it's made to be like a well-off community where like
Yeah,
crime's
was
not
it
supposed
Northern
to
California?
happen.
I think.
I don't know.
Because and then also if you look at it, like these houses are in the middle of nowhere.
But yeah, they're on the hills.
Yeah, they're like literally like I mean, it's not like they're in town. It's not. This movie is like much different than like Halloween because Halloween.
Oh yeah, it's a tiny little community.
Yeah.
Yeah, suburban community and stuff like that. Yeah, it's definitely different, and the houses are unique in that like historical feel to them or cathedral feel, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so then her parents find her hanging from the tree, and then it like makes just news everywhere,
Yeah.
obviously, because it's like it's the first crime that has happened since Sydney's mom's passing.
Yeah. I will say the one thing about this, like after this, we get the, I can't remember if this is when we get the title scene, the title card where it says "Scream."
Oh yeah, it is. It's right.
Right after her death.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I'm so glad they
No,
changed
the scream part comes in the beginning before she even dies.
where it's just the title card that says "Scream."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Whenever it is, I'm so glad like in post they change it to like this font and stuff like that because I hate the way that looks. I think it looks so ugly.
Oh.
Like the font style they use and stuff like that. Like just
Yeah.
it looks so cheap and like I'm so glad they like they changed the font post for like the posters and like the
Yeah,
VHS
the advertisements and marketing.
I'm so glad like it looks just so much cleaner and crisper and like neat versus like what they had in the movie just looked like a typewriter. Or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't think it looked good.
I don't pay that much attention
Yeah,
to
no,
form that strong of an
I'm
opinion.
not saying like it's not like it's something like I really care about. I'm just like I just know like this kind of looks kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Or like this big budget like slasher with Wes Craven's name on it. It kind of looks shitty.
Yeah. So then the next day at school, they obviously had found out about the murders, and this is also where you get the glimpse into the Scream theme song.
Yeah, the one I was talking about earlier, where it's like industrial, but it's got almost like a opera orchestra and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you listen throughout the movie, you hear it constantly, but I think it's really cool. I was really a big fan of it when I doing the research and like me paying more attention after like us watching the movie. I wanted to listen to, there's certain things that I try to listen for that maybe have overlooked over the years and stuff like that, but like this is one of those movies where I was like, I was like, oh, I actually like the way this stuff sounds, especially with me just like starting to collect soundtracks and shit.
Yeah.
I really like, this is a good like score.
Yeah.
I really did like that.
Yeah, so this also is where you kind of get them all at the water fountain, and they're all talking about the murders, and kind of like the boys are more like joking about it,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like the girls are taking it seriously. Sydney's like very impacted by it, at least it seems, and the boys are just like taking it as a joke, essentially. And also at this moment at school, Sydney does get pulled into the principal's office.
Well, that was when like we get a little bit more look into Sydney's like life because we don't know like we get little glimpse because there's a little thread that they're on like what's the word? Unraveling. Where it's like, okay, what happened to Sydney's mom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we find, okay, she's been murdered. Oh, mate, when was it? Because everyone's asking her, how are you doing? How's your dad doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so it must have been recent, okay?
Yeah.
We're still like...
But in reality, it's just upcoming on the 1 year. And that's probably why everyone's asking. But you don't know that yet. Again, you kind of like... the background with Sydney is more of like they're peeling back layers, essentially. And you get a little bit more information as you proceed through.
Yeah. And then also like the thing is like when they're talking around the water fountain... we get a look at like everyone's in a. It's like they have a big group of friends, and it's like it's weird because it's a very weird dynamic because there's a big group of friends. I'm not gonna lie, they don't seem like a group of friends.
Yeah.
Like I mean like you can tell like Stu and Billy are more friendly. Like Randy's just there. It doesn't really feel like Randy is one of their friends.
But I also feel like when you're talking about a large group of friends, it's always kind of that dynamic. You have some people that are closer than others, and you have one that's kind of like a part of the group, but like why they're a part of
Oh,
the
it's
group.
like that
I don't
one
know.
friend you hang out with, but you would never hang out with alone, but you'll hang out with them in a group setting.
I mean, I don't really have anyone like that, but sure.
Well, it's
Whatever.
like, I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like when me growing up with the friends, like there'd be some friends like, oh, so and so's going, oh, that's cool, but I would never call up
like
so and so, hey, you want to go hang out?
Yeah, like you weren't direct friends with so and so.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
yeah.
I mean, probably. But yeah, so they're kind of like making light. The guys, at least, are making light of it. And Tatum's kind of more just like telling the guys to like shut up and stuff like that.
And that's another
because it's bothering Sydney.
We get what's his name? Stu. Is he even like kind of like, if after watching the movie and you knowing the twist, you're like, okay, yeah, you
He's
see the
definitely the
tails.
killer.
You see the tails. He's like, I didn't kill anybody, and Billy's like, no one said you did.
Yeah.
It's like, and I will say, Matthew Millard or Willard, I can't remember how to pronounce his last name.
Was it an M or a W?
I think it was.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
It would be up here. Oh my gosh.
Well, he's not on there.
He definitely has to be on there.
This is his first movie, so I doubt he's on there, babe.
True. True. The featuring time also is shorter than the time it was. Anyways, whoever he is from Scooby-Doo.
Millard. I think it's Millard. But yeah, like his the way he plays.
He's so good at being crazy.
Oh my God. Like, he is fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Like, he gave me nightmares.
Heebie-jeebies.
Like his like big eyes and the teeth,
Big
the
mouth.
big mouth, which I was reading an article.
And we get to meet him soon.
Yes, soon. I was reading an article that he said like he kind of like dialed it up, and he should have dialed it back down. He said he's like, if I ever saw anyone acting like that on scene, I would take him aside and be like, hey,
You need to chill out.
you need to calm it back. But like, I don't agree with that, because that one made him so fucking scary. He's so like, the way he acts in this movie is by far like, like he is very, I'm not saying maybe like theatrics, I don't know, but like he is a powerful presence in the movie that's very unsettling for me.
Yeah.
I do not like it.
Yeah, because you're like, he's interesting. Like, you got your eyes on, in a murder mystery, he's definitely someone where you're like, I think he's the killer. But then when stuff happens, you're like, well, wait, is there two people? Like, I think deep down you always know that it's Stu, but then you're kind of like, the way certain things happen, you're like, well, wait a second. Is it Billy too? Like, but Stu's a dead giveaway.
It can't be Billy because he was been, Sid got a phone call while he's in jail and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know what I
but
mean?
what I'm saying is, like, I personally feel like Stu is like blatantly the person from the beginning.
I don't know. Like, when I first, like, I was too young. Like, when I was first watching this movie, I didn't like. It's really, this is a movie hard to watch sometimes after you know everything. It does make it, I guess, not as enjoyable to rewatch it because
I still like it.
I mean, no, it's still good. I'm just saying, like, it's not one of those movies like, let me throw that back on. Like, Big Trouble in Little China. I can watch that any day, every day. Throw it on anytime you got a chance. Like, we talk about True Lies. If it's on, I'm watching it, okay? This kind of movie is not like one of those movies where it's like, Scream's on, let me watch it. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, it's a great movie. I like it. But once you know who did it, it's kind of loses its luster. And then, unless you want to go back and watch, just feel like, pick out the little, like, kind of like little Easter eggs here and there.
Yeah.
But anyway, after this, so Cindy, after this scene, we get Cindy goes home, and she's not feeling great. She's home alone. Her dad's on vacation.
Well, he's about to leave for vacation.
No, yeah, he's not on vacation.
Or work trip, whatever.
I'm jumping ahead. But yeah, she goes home, and we get. But yeah, so she comes home from school, and her dad has left for his work trip. And
one of the things she's been waiting for her dad to leave for a work trip is so Billy could potentially come over, because he had come over previously and like snuck over through this like back window thing, like in her bedroom. Yeah.
Do you remember Chris explained it all? Her boyfriend or the guy, he'd always come in through the ladder through the window, and they play a little riff or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, so, and that got interrupted because her dad was home. So now that her dad's like going to be out of town, Billy might come over, but because of recent events, she is just going to go with Tatum.
Yeah, she's asked Tatum to hang out because she's just not feeling well.
Yeah. And Tatum's like, I'll be there soon. I'll be there soon. She's like, okay. And you can tell that she's like starting to get nervous at the fact that she's home alone. So she just goes to sleep for a little while.
And by the way, is how many times has that happened to you when your friend said, I'll be there soon, and hours pass? It sucks.
I'm sometimes that friend.
I'll be there soon. Is soon 2 hours from now? Because that's not soon. That's in a while.
I'm not that extreme, but I'd be taking a while. But so she wakes up and now it's like dark out and now she's even more like anxious and worried and wants Tatum to come. And this is when she gets, the cliche knock on the door. Yeah. But then no one's there.
The phone rings.
Yeah.
And she gets Ghostface calling her on the phone.
Yeah.
And then this is when she thinks it's Randy messing with her.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, why would she think it's Randy messing with her? Out of all the people, like, why would you not expect it to be Billy? I don't know. I just thought it was weird.
Oh, I thought she thought it was Billy. I didn't.
No, it's Randy. Yeah, she keeps on saying Randy.
Yeah.
And then
I think it's because Randy's obsession with. Because he does talk a lot about scary movies and like this is the rules of the scary movies.
You say that I get that is true. But if you watch the movie, so does fucking Billy. He's always talking like.
Oh yeah, never once did I think Randy was Ghostface.
Yeah, Billy always like the first time like when he comes in her bedroom, like we were talking about a few seconds ago. He's like, I was watching The Exorcist, and like but it was the made for TV version where they cut out all the good stuff. And he's like, I feel like that's us lately.
Many hours later.
So we're back, clearly in two different outfits, because we had some technical difficulties. So
who knew? When you don't, if by the way, I'm not a Mac user, I've just become a Mac user. If you don't remove things from the trash bin, it is not.
They're not really gone.
They're not really gone until you remove them from the trash bin. Then your SD card will remove them from the SD card.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyways,
so
that is to explain the difference right now for our audio listeners. Our visuals can see.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we were talking about how Sydney was pretty much getting ready to get attacked by Ghostface.
Yeah, and she thinks Randy is on the phone, but it's not Randy. We were saying how Randy likes scary movies, but Stu also really likes scary movies. Is made relevant pretty easily.
And Billy. So like all three.
Oh yeah, sorry, I said Stu. I meant Billy.
Yeah.
And it's Lillard. Lillard, I double checked. I made an error in my notes. It's Lillard.
Yeah, so if you made a comment already, delete it. Anyways, so Sydney is trying to evade Ghostface. She's running around her house. Again, it kicks off the same way as the first kill, which is like the knock on the door, nothing's there.
Yeah.
And Ghostface ends up in the house, also with the call.
Yeah, and she makes the reference where how it's like, she's like, is this the one where she's like, well, it's just stupid. They don't just run out the front door. Yeah,
she was talking about how it's like dumb that people in scary movies don't do certain things. And she did everything that she said it was stupid.
Yeah, obviously that was planned, but I mean,
it's comical.
No, it's nice. It's a nice touch. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I like it.
So then like she essentially like escapes Ghostface kind of, but then Billy like shows up at her doorstep as she's trying to run away.
Yeah.
Which then you're like weird, and also a phone falls out of his pocket.
Yeah, a cell phone.
And Sydney notices the phone, and you can clearly tell like a change in her demeanor, and she's kind of like, wait a second.
Yeah. So Dewey's there too as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they pretty much like not frame because.
I mean, if it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah.
It's basically that classic scenario.
If you watch this movie, you know.
Yeah.
But so now you get some glimpse from the police department where they're just like, Dewey's just trying to be there for Sydney. And also at the end of them leaving Sydney's house, Tatum shows up. And so Tatum is trying to like leave with Dewey. And you also find out that Dewey is Tatum's brother. And Tatum definitely kind of treats him like
we kind of already knew that though, because she's always been like kind of low key. He's like, I think it was earlier. She's like Tatum, Mama said, when you see me wear this uniform, you respect me as a man of the law.
Well, he said that as they were walking out of the police station.
I thought it's when they're at school. Remember?
Why would he be in his uniform at school?
Earlier about the murders.
Oh, okay.
I think so, right? Because that's when she shows up at school and Dewey's there.
I don't think so, but I might be wrong. I'm not too sure. Anyway, so, and at that point, I guess Billy's there with his dad, or like, does he already have a lawyer?
So Billy gets taken in, all right, and then as we find out later, but he's what's called his dad was called to come in and like, listen here, like the kid was just. You try it, prove it. You can take the cell phone and see if the calls came from that cell phone.
Yeah.
And my son is innocent. And then he kind of like has to like kind of tell on himself, like, oh, well, I was there the other night. Well, I went for a drive and I want to see Sid.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And which his dad's not too happy about.
Yeah, because it looks sketchy.
Well, what's sketchy is the fact that Billy just keeps on constantly looking at Sid very menacingly.
Oh, just like, creeping
over his
around
shoulder.
Stuff. It doesn't help that he kind of already looks creepy, so no offense.
But obviously Sid's very shaken up for this.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean? Excuse me. But yeah, so then at this point, Sydney's just going to stay at Tatum's house because obviously she's scared. And then she already kind of wanted to do that.
Yeah, that was already
her dad
the
was out of
initial
town. But now she's like definitely going to stay there. But while they're there,
dun dun dun.
Yeah, Ghostface calls Tatum's house.
Yeah.
So clearly she didn't really escape him. And then it's also kind of like, well, if he called the house and Billy's being held by the police, then like who is the killer?
Yes, this is like one of the key...
murder mystery.
Yeah, this is one of the key things for when you're watching as a viewer, like, okay, maybe Billy's not the killer.
Yeah.
And so if you really watch the movie, the first time you watch it, okay, Billy's not the killer.
Yeah.
Well, who the fuck's the killer?
And
you know
from
what I mean?
this point, I think this is the turning point scene where like everybody starts to act weird.
Yes. That's
like,
when...
is Dewey the killer? Is Randy the killer? Is Billy still the killer? Is there two killers? Like...
Well, then you also start thinking, well, I don't know if you think... Well, yeah, they do. I think they do make a reference. I can't remember off the top of my head if they do make a reference that there possibly might be more than one person.
Yes,
but then you start thinking like with how the principal Henry Winkler is acting all weird in the office later with the scissors. You're like, and that was when I watched it with my sister. Like I said, me and Britta and my sister were watching. Well, they were watching. I was being an annoying little sibling popping in.
Little sibling club. You're looking at it.
But that was, I think, the one thing like I remember vividly where they were like, oh, like they were thinking that, oh, maybe it's the principal.
It's a classic murder mystery where like everybody's being weird, and it's like, are you being weird because you're the murderer, or are you being weird just because it's a murder mystery?
Yeah, 100%.
And Dewey comes like running out of his room while Sydney's on the phone with Ghostface.
Yeah,
but
I like this
the
scene.
call ends. Yeah,
yeah, this scene was pretty funny.
He changes his voice to his like professional cop voice.
Yeah, he pulls a gun out, but it's funny because like she's screaming over the phone, but he pulls a gun out, and then he comes and he picks up the phone and he's like, "Hello."
Yeah,
I love David Arquette. I think he's awesome.
He's funny. So ultimately, Billy gets released. They had really like nothing to essentially pin on him. And they're all in school, so they go back to school the next day, and Sydney runs into a reporter that is getting ready to release a book on her mother's murder.
Yeah, we know it's Gail from earlier in the movie, but like, cause she's already socked her in the face once, which we forgot to talk about that. But as she's leaving the police station, what's it called? She's like pressing her and kind of like really like basically she knows she's overstepping. Like hands down, she knows she's overstepping.
Like, it's a dirty journalism kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes, it's very distasteful how she's acting, and that was one thing with Courtney Cox. Like, and she had Friends before this, and she always plays a really nice person in Friends as Monica. And that's the one thing is like when she took this role, she's like, I really wanted to be a bitch. And that's when she played up being a bitch in the movie. Yeah. And which I like I said, the characters in this movie are very well done. Very well done. I mean, like we've already talked about Stu. Stu is amazing character in this movie. Like if you watch it for it is, and that's the first time that's the first time us seeing Matthew Lillard. He got the freaking part on just a whim by going to an audition with his girlfriend, and someone saw him in the hallway, like, "Hey, I think you should audition for this." And he, like, hands down is, like I said, terrifying.
Yeah.
You know what's called? I mean,
He's
then
definitely creepy.
You got Randy, which is well done as kind of like a nerdy guy.
Yeah.
Jamie Kennedy did a great job playing Randy. Um, what's her name? Nev Campbell, beautiful as Sydney, does a great job as Sydney. I mean, it's a great cast,
Yeah.
and the acting in this movie is very well done. So I think when I say, like, when I was bringing it to earlier, and when we were talking about, like, you know, level of slashers, that's what makes this movie a higher tier slasher. It's because of the acting in it. It's not like your traditional 80s cheesy slasher. It is a well-made movie altogether, and I think that's why it did so
But there
well.
are some cheesy parts.
Yes, but I think it's all fun, and also you got a great director. So
yeah, I agree. So Sydney tries to question Gail on why Gail believes that her mom's murder isn't her mom's actual murder.
yeah.
Because he's about to be on death row, essentially.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like,
Or he is on death row.
she wrote the book about the murder, and
it's
Gail
about to be released.
Yeah, and Gail's like, listen here, your mom's was the hottest murder last year.
Yeah, pretty much like, how could I not?
Someone's going to write a book, and it might as well be me, a reporter from the town that it happened.
Yeah.
You know?
And also while Sid's so then she goes into school, whatever, it's said and done. Again, Tatum's kind of like the, I guess, protective friend, because she comes up and she's like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah. So I will say, like, with the Tatum, I like the friendship there because
yeah, you have more of like a subtle personality, and then you have a strong, loud personality.
And when they went back to Tatum's house, I did like that with them, like, sitting in the two, like, twin beds and stuff.
Yeah,
like
why
that,
do you have two twin beds in your room?
where she's like, oh, it's like, bam, bitch went down, bam, bitch went down. I was like, it was kind of funny and playful.
Yeah, and Sid, pretty much, like, people pull pranks at the school and are dressed up as Ghostface and running around, and it obviously triggers Sid, and she's kind of panicked, and she's trying to, like, leave school essentially, and runs into Billy, which is, like, the last person she wants to run into because she's still startled by everything.
And I made this, I know this is a weird comment, but, like, when we were watching the movie, if you go back and rewatch this scene, Billy's got fucking huge hands.
I don't pay attention.
I don't know, like, his hands are fucking massive for how, like, small his frame is. I don't know. Is the most thing I got out of this scene? I was like, God damn, he's got some big hands.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't pay attention to that. So Sid essentially goes to the bathroom to calm down and chill out some. And pretty much, like, Sydney just can't get a fucking break.
Oh, 100%.
Because she gets chased out of the bathroom by Ghostface. Because who else would be in the school bathroom?
And then you got the two freaking catty ass bitches in there.
Yeah.
Just saying mean shit. Just being like, I don't know. Like, yes, I grew up in a small little town, and we had, like, I think our graduating class was like 88 kids or whatever. And so, like, the people you went to school with, you kind of, at kindergarten, you kind of went to school with when you graduated. But, like, yes, we had some mean, like, people that would do, like, say mean things, but this is just, like, cold-hearted mean.
Well, also, I don't think you'd know about all the girl drama.
Oh, yeah, girl drama is, girl.
You're a guy.
Yeah, I'm a guy. Yeah. Guys shit's much different than girl shit.
Yeah. But, so essentially all this chaos just causes for school to be closed. Like, the principal decides this is too much until the killer's caught. Everybody just needs to go home, stay home. The principal gets on to two of the kids that were fooling around, acting like Ghostface, pretty much, like, shames them for doing it. And he starts being weird and freaky. And ultimately, since school's closed, Stu decides to throw a party, and it's like they're gonna watch horror movies kind of thing, hang out, like a kickback, but also like a party.
Yeah.
And while you're getting these glimpses of the party scene, the principal is still in his office, and he pulls one of the ghost face masks out and is like, pretending to be Ghostface, to then get killed by Ghostface. So
Yeah, he's playing with the Ghostface mask and stuff like that.
yeah, you're just being weird and goofy. Like if you ever, I don't know, been hanging out in a room by yourself and you just do weird shit, it happens.
Yeah, and then and this is the famous scene where he gets the knock at the door and he goes over there and
he gets irritated.
oh God, is it Fred? He's like, what's called? He's like,
the cleaning guy.
Yeah,
the
janitor.
Freddy.
Yeah, he's like, he's like, what? He's like, I don't know if he says like, who is it or whatever.
Did you see somebody?
He's like, no, you see somebody. He's like, you're talking to me, and it's Wes Craven dressed up as Freddy with a giant handlebar mustache.
So that was funny. And obviously...
He's like, I'm not talking to you, Fred. Never mind.
Yeah, a recognition to Freddy. And essentially, while I think they were like getting ready for the party or something where they were talking about her mom.
Well, that's a little bit... Well, so the principal gets murdered, and we get this great scene with his eye and how like Ghostface shines up in his eye.
Well, that's just like when Drew Barrymore got killed. You see a portion where she's like trying to pull the mask out. You're looking into Drew Barrymore's eyes.
Oh,
and she's
I forgot about. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
out.
yeah. It's some really cool shots in this movie. I really do like that. And I wonder
because you get the window reflection where
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore is screaming at Scream, and they're on two separate sides of the window, and then you get the reflection of her trying to pull the Ghostface mask off in her eyes.
Yeah.
As she's getting killed, and then you kind of get the same thing when the principal is getting killed as well.
Yeah. So then after the principal is unfortunately murdered, which I don't know, for some reason, like, I don't know if it's like a Mandela effect, but for some reason I feel like at the end of the movie when they bring up the fact that he has been like, he's tied to the goalpost and his insides are like whatever all over the football field, I'm like, in my head I'm like, for some reason I remember there seeing a scene like that, but like it's obviously not in the movie. But in my head I'm like, I don't know why I think I saw a scene like that. I don't know.
I don't remember.
But yeah,
like I don't remember back in a day
but
having a scene like that. But there may have been. That doesn't mean it's not there. And I mean, it could have got cut off because of streaming services. Because like I don't know if anybody else has heard, and maybe it's not true, maybe it is true. But sometimes like things get pulled out for streaming purposes. So it
well,
can
that
go
was
on
like when we
streaming
were watching
services.
Home Alone. The intro to Home Alone 2, I damn well know it showed, because it shows New York, and I know it showed the Twin Towers. And when we watched on Disney Plus, I'm like, so you really just take the Twin Towers out of it? Like, we can't just have the standard intro to Home Alone 2 with the New York skyline with the Twin Towers in it?
I don't remember the intro well enough to remember the Twin Towers being there, but I'm sure other people do. But yeah, I mean, I've also heard from other people as well that stuff has gotten pulled. Not necessarily for streaming services, but they've watched a movie on a streaming service, but they remember once upon a time watching it on a DVD or some other way, and stuff like just not being right or stuff missing and things like that. So maybe that's the case with this one when it comes to the principal's kill scene.
But yeah, you're right. We after this scene, we go back to Tatum's house where they're
all eating breakfast and stuff around the...
Well, no, they're outside. They're outside talking about. Tatum's like, do you think that maybe there might be? Do you think that maybe, the guy you think killed your mom didn't kill your mom? And she's like, like Tatum, like I saw him. He's like, but like. You can only hear the Richard Gere Goebbels story so many times before you have to realize it's real.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you can kind of tell after her talk with Gail, like she's like, okay.
You saw the doubt in her eyes.
You saw like, okay, well, you said it does make sense. You thought you saw.
Yeah.
You thought you saw this, but you didn't. You saw somebody. But,
yeah. But did you see this person specifically?
Yes.
So then you get some twisty turns. Like, is there still a murder on the loose for a whole entire year now?
And we get the funny reference where he says, where Tatum says, Wes Carpenter. So Wes Craven, John Carpenter, like, oh, you're talking like a Wes Carpenter storyline, or something like that. And then this is where we get your famous Grinch style, like running in the woods ghost face. It's the weirdest things. Like, if you're gonna like stalk someone, do you really have to be do you really have to be dressed up as Ghostface?
Why are you running like that?
And it's in daylight. That's another thing.
But
it's in pure
any
daylight.
of those things, that's fine. I mean, Joe and you stalks at all hours of the day.
But the thing, he's not dressed up like a freaking. He's not dressed up as.
Because he's not cool like Ghostface. But why do you run like that? It's not even creepy. It's just funny. You're like, what are you running like that? And it doesn't help that like the end of the costume comes down like the little triangles and stuff. So they're very drapey looking and literally looks like the Grinch. But then, so Billy's out of jail. Sydney's still on the fence, kind of staying like a little bit away from Billy. Everyone else is kind of as normal. Dewey is really looking out for Sydney and trying to stay on top of what's going on. And now you get a movie store scene with the boys, essentially.
Well, yeah, it's Stu and Randy. Randy also works at the movie store, and he's the scary movie. I don't know what you want to call connoisseur. He's like he knows all the stuff, and he's like we get the famous secret formula scene and stuff, and. This is probably one of the most like played scenes. This is what was on the trailer that really got people watching the movie.
It's super weird because Randy's like trying to guesstimate who the murderer could be, and then
he still thinks Billy did it. He still thinks Billy did it.
Yeah, and then Billy pops up and kind of like scares Randy, but then Stu's like, "Whoa!" And then Stu starts acting weird.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like, and they team up, and it seems like to try to like confuse Randy, and Randy kind of just is like. Freaked out.
Yeah, and then also like you can tell like this is the main scene I feel like where you can tell like okay Randy's not really
he's not equipped.
He doesn't seem to feel like a friend of these two guys.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say he's like definitely not the killer. I'm like
oh no.
He's definitely not equipped to be the killer.
No, and it's a little hard to watch because it's just like they're just not nice, And obviously Billy's giving off this scene. Billy gives off.
Stu's kind of like not nice to anybody though.
Oh no, Stu's
like
a straight
smart
up dick.
ass. Yeah,
straight up dick. Yeah,
even
100%.
to Tatum and stuff. He just seems rude.
Yeah.
Especially like his commentary towards like Sydney not being intimate with Billy and stuff like that. Like Stu's just not really compassionate and just he fits the profile of a killer. But yeah, so they're like mean to him. They kind of also team up to like throw him off, it seems like, or just to like tease him, kind of weird him out some.
And then after this, we get Dewey that makes his way to the station with Tatum and Sid.
Yeah,
and we're gonna get another Ghostface. Another Ghostface appearance scene. So they were already in the woods. Obviously, they're whoever it is, which also doesn't make sense. It depends on like when the scene took place, because if there was somebody in the woods, maybe the person in the woods that was just staring at was just someone being weird. Maybe it wasn't actually Ghostface.
I like someone around the town, just
I
like
think,
the people were doing it.
I don't know if that's ever been like relevant, but I think I brought up earlier. I can't remember because this was a day ago when we shot the first half. But I can't remember if there is like maybe some of these scenes that we're seeing Ghostface. It's not,
Yeah, like it's people around the town just trying to do pranks and stuff like that. Just like in one of the Halloweens, don't people start dressing like Michael?
Oh yeah. Shit. Yes. In the second one, the kid gets run over by the car because he's wearing they think it's Michael.
Yeah. Yeah. So and I mean it could be that as well. Not supposed to actually be Ghostface, just people around the town tormenting the idea of Ghostface, the idea of a murderer being out there in that mask. So Stu then goes to the police station.
No, Dewey, sorry.
Dewey. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Dewey goes to the police station with Tatum and Sid because they feel like they have more information on the murders.
Dewey is talking to the police chief, and he's like, he's been, the police just been looking into like, okay, where is Sydney's dad? Because he's not showing up to the hotel that he's supposed to be.
He's not answering phone calls.
He's not answering phone calls. So this looks very suspicious. So now they're thinking,
because her mom's murder is a day away from being the 1 year anniversary.
Yes, and so like So we get a little bit more information dump with the chief and Dewey. And Dewey's like, the chief's like, I want you to stay close to Sid. She's like, well, do you want me to bring her in to keep her safe? He's like, no. I want you to be close to her. I want you to be around her, make sure everything's okay. Because I feel like something else is going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's like, and he's, obviously, he's going to take care of her. And then, we get, like I said, we get the sighting of Ghostface in like the liquor store or convenience store, whatever it is, where they're talking about like, you've been kind of holding out on Billy. You really think you need to make him wait that long? Do you think it's time, that maybe you do
you have to get past it. Yeah. You have to get past what happened and what you saw and stuff like that. So ultimately, Dewey and the police chief find out that the calls to the house were coming from Sydney's dad's phone.
Yeah.
So that makes them even more like, where is her dad? Where is he? They haven't spotted his car, hasn't checked in the, all the things that Logan had said. And Stu's party starts. So Dewey has been tasked to sit outside the party essentially and just canvass the area.
And then there's
watch.
the giant curfew all across the town.
Yeah.
We see business shutting down due to the curfew, and we get that freaking kick-ass Nick Cave and Bad Seed song. What's called the Red Rod Hand little thing. This movie's
sing it.
I don't know all the lyrics. I just know that I just know that in the part, but whatever. But it's like that's the thing I like a lot about movies when I watch movies. If they can sync up like a music with it, and it just hits perfectly on like the feel and the mood of the scene. I feel like I don't think there's anything better.
My favorite song combo is Riders in the Storm, but in the underground race, the Xbox game or PlayStation game.
Need for Speed Underground?
Yeah.
With one or was it two?
I don't know.
I think it was the second one. I can't remember.
Whichever one.
I think Need for Speed Underground 2, I think is the most memorable one.
Yeah.
So it's probably that one.
Put that song in combo, in case anyone wanted to know. Anytime people talk about like song combos on like games or movies, that's the first one that comes to my head.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, for example, the person who I think does it the best is Quentin Tarantino. Obviously, like where like a lot of his movie, he puts like Blue Suede. What's called? I don't think anyone, what's called, really remembered them until Guardians of the Galaxy. But like no one's remembered like I mean, don't get me wrong, I know it was a very popular song and everything like that, like in the Guardians of the Galaxy. But I remember that from Reservoir Dogs. I mean and that's the cool thing, like how like Quentin, he would always introduce songs with the movie to make it feel part of the movie.
Yeah.
Especially like Death Proof.
Yeah.
And I mean then you got obviously Kill Bill and
Yeah.
stuff. Even like when my favorite, Django, where I believe it's Rick Ross, but like it's just the way he like brings in like music to be like the score of the movie and stuff like that. Like instead of like, having something be like made for the movie, he's like, oh no, this scene, this is going to play because this is going to really give the vibe of the feel of the movie, and stuff like that. I just think that's really like, I like it when shit like that happens.
Yeah, absolutely, it works perfect. So not only is Dewey at this party canvassing the party, but you bet your ass, Gal is too.
Gail.
Yeah, Gal. I said it weird.
Oh yeah. I'm sure there's two ways to pronounce it.
But so she's there too, because if there's a story, she wants to catch it. She wants to be able to headline it.
And she's also being very like, she's like low key playing. Like it's weird. You can tell she's like playing Dewey. You know what I mean?
She's playing Dewey because she knows, Dewey's going to know to look for things that she doesn't know to look for, and she wants to know if the killer's around and when things are happening. So she takes herself a little bit too far and gets herself fully involved now. Oh yeah, as you'll find out.
Yeah, she's gonna plant the camera.
Yeah, so she plants a camera to watch inside the house, and her partner is sitting inside the van watching that while she's venturing around with Dewey, trying to canvass the property and see if there's a killer around.
He gets the call about the car.
Yeah, so they find the car, which is her dad's car, and they're kind of like, that's not making sense.
Yeah, all this is, I mean, mind you, like, as we say this, there's some other,
This is a very fast-paced section.
Yeah.
So you have the party going on simultaneous, and then you have things unraveling outside the party while things are also unraveling inside the party. Because this is where you get your next kill and the rest of your kills.
Yeah, and this is a big chunk of the movie.
Yeah.
Like this, like I think
it's the main focus, the main event.
I think it was like 42 minutes or something like that. Like this is a lot of the movie.
But you get a glimpse inside the party. We also get a Scream Queen reference because they eventually start watching Halloween at the party too.
Yeah, they have that's when they start talking about, that's where we get the reference of Terror Train and Prom Night, Halloween, Evil Dead, because they're going through the movies and like which ones are we going to watch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, while this is going on, Tatum is going to go to the garage to get some more beer, and this is when we get the this is when Ghostface uniform is like complete like sparkles.
Yeah, it's just like a glitter overcoat or
which,
whatever.
like I said, I don't know. I couldn't find an answer
funny.
when I googled it. Like, is this like homage to prom night or is it not? I don't know.
I take it for face value, and I think it's funny. I think it's just another like little quirk again, like the.
I feel like it has to be for some reason. What's called, but it's great. And then this scene this probably is one of my. This probably is my favorite scene. I like the
sarcastic interaction where she's like, "Oh my gosh, no, don't kill me. Like there needs to be a sequel."
Oh,
and
yeah.
She's like taunting him essentially, and like of course Ghostface doesn't say anything, and he already has one facial expression, so he's like, I don't know.
And Jesus, for Christ, how cold is it in that garage? I think this scene as a little boy, it was like, dadgum.
Yeah.
Look at those nipples.
Oh, yeah. Well, she comes out the house like that as well. And then also it's like she essentially like gets killed by the garage door. She's trying to crawl out the cat door that's in there after already getting cut by Ghostface, and the garage door goes up for the first time, considering she tried to get it up several other times and it wouldn't go up. And like I'm sure everyone knows this, but garage doors obviously have sensors from left to right side. And if there's anything in the way, they won't go up or down, whichever way you're trying to get them to go.
Yeah, and also, like I think when we were watching, like, I highly doubt that little motor is strong enough to pull up. She might, I don't know, 120 pounds or something like that, or 110 pounds. Regardless, I doubt it's able to pull up 110 pounds additional to the garage door that's already
I know nothing about garage motors. But and it's also like it looks so fake when she gets like closed up into the.
I like it though. You can tell it's a prosthetic head, but I like how the head like crushes. I like that.
Yeah, you can tell the whole body's prosthetic, especially when you see it from looking into the garage later in the movie. It's 100% just like a mannequin hand.
Apparently she kept on falling out of the garage, so they had to like
she or the fake.
No. That's actually her getting lifted. That is actually her getting lifted, and she kept on falling out. So like they had like somewhat like nail her in by like her clothes and stuff like that, like strapping her in.
Up.
Yeah,
almost like a harness. So that's the first kill, and then Ghostface just like leaves her there and just like goes back into the party.
Another thing. So okay, they don't. Well, does he? No, he doesn't leave by the garage. He goes out back by the garage door.
Yeah.
I mean, not the garage door. Sorry, the door inside the garage.
Yeah.
So you're just telling me he just goes inside the house. No one sees him, and he just. I'm just going to take this off and just get back to partying.
Yeah. So then at this point, like the party has like suddenly died down.
People they're not coming, but they're leaving slowly. Yeah. It's kind of like, I understand, like. It's not like a full-blown,
it's like a hangout or like a kickback. And people slowly are dissipating. And then you get the part where Billy shows up, and Sydney was under the impression that Billy was not going to be there.
Yeah.
And Stu answers the door. And also Billy shows up right after Tatum got killed. So then you're like, you start to trickle things together here.
Yeah.
And Billy shows up because he wants to talk to Sid, and Stu's kind of like supporting it. And to their shock, Sid is like, "Yeah, we do need to talk."
Yeah.
So
and Stu's like, "How about y'all go upstairs?"
Upstairs in my room. Yeah. And Billy is just like starts.
Well, they hook up.
Yeah,
they hook up, and this is the scene where like Um, I don't. This is like if you always thought like Billy was crazy, I mean, he doesn't always act like the most innocent person. But there is a part in the movie where he's like, right before they hook up, they're talking about stuff, and he's it's all part of life or whatever. And he's like, and Sid's like, I feel like I'm living in a movie, and he's like, we're all living in a movie.
Yeah.
And then he says the whole like, but you just can't choose your genre. I'm like, dude, are you what? No, we're not living. This is not a movie. This is real life. What are you talking about?
Well, it is a movie.
But no, I'm saying like if for anyone to say that, like, okay, like, all right, man.
If someone said that, I'd be like, okay, Gandhi, you're all right. But yeah, and obviously, like to some degree, makes Sid feel a little bit better because then she obviously like has sex with him, and then afterwards, you can like immediately tell like. She wished she didn't do that, or she's on the fence.
I didn't get that. I feel like she starts to ask like I don't know, like because
what guy does get that?
Well, it cuts back. Well, I mean, mind you, like it does. Like we do get on a scene before this. We get the whole explanation of Randy's rules to survive and the surviving a horror movie.
Yeah, and it's pretty much no sex, no drinking, no drugs, and never say I'll be right back because you never come back.
Yes, and then that's the whole, which was, once again, big part of the trailer was Stu going, I'll be right back,
Yeah, because they just take Randy as a joke, essentially, and they just are like...
Well, he's like supposed to be the nerdy person, but like but he's like a 1990s nerd. You know what I mean?
So... Dewey and Gail go to inspect the car that they found in the woods because Gail was like, "Well, I'll go. We'll check it out together." Yeah. And
then we find out while they're doing that, that someone has made a phone call to the people at the house or Stu's house, whatever, and Randy picks up, and you find out that the kids find that the principal has been murdered.
Yeah.
And the whole goalpost, thing that we talked about earlier. And after this scene, we get a lot of people are leaving the party.
Yeah, now you're down to like when everything's going to happen.
It's the core people. The core people, everyone's gone except for basically Randy.
The group of friends. Yeah. And Gail and the news reporter outside and Dewey outside.
And then this is when we're the scene you were talking about earlier. Now we're at that point where where Sid was going to talk to Billy, and she kind of finds some information that she feels to be a little not, like she starts saying that's fishy. Where she's like, hey, who did you call when when you were in jail?
Yeah, she starts like probing questions.
Yeah, and then he's like, I called my dad. He's like. I mean, she's like, no. The sheriff,
they
sheriff
called your dad.
They called your dad. I watched them do it. And he's like, well, then I called, and that's why I didn't get him. So I had to call him back. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like when you're like caught up in a lie. You're like, shit, rethink, recalculating, new response.
I don't know what that feels like. Just kidding. But so now like things just like kick off essentially.
Because this is when Billy gets murdered.
Yeah, so Ghostface comes in and murders Billy.
Murders.
And Sydney escapes by going out a window because how else is she going to get out? She kind of like runs around the house a little bit and she's trying to find a way out.
Goes to like the attic room or something like that. I don't know if it's obviously a storage room that's kind of like an attic, and she falls out the window onto the boat, which she gets very, get very lucky on. And then it's funny because this scene, she keeps on running away, coming back, running away.
Yeah, she runs away and then runs back into the house. I'm like, if you would have ran out and just kept running down that street, I know you look like you're in the middle of nowhere, just kept running down that street, you get much further than if you just kept running around the same freaking yard and back into the house. She just keeps doing circles around and back into the house, around and back into the house. Then she tries like getting people's cars and then back into the house. Like back into the house is her default because eventually that's where like the finale is and stuff like that. But Randy almost gets killed by Ghostface while he is very intently watching Halloween.
Yeah.
Just like laying on the couch, he's just talking to himself. He hasn't even really like noticed that everybody has left him.
No, he's just sitting there all by himself.
He really cares about his Halloween movies, obviously.
But yeah, and he's just sitting there, and I don't know if it's played off like he's acting like he's drunk, but like he hasn't ever like he doesn't like. It's
I think it's
weird.
the assumption since it's a party that
Yeah.
everybody's drinking / drunk.
And then that's when Sid is able to make it to the camera
News
van.
van, yeah.
Yeah, the camera van, and this poor fucking camera guy. I just felt like all they did through this whole movie is played him out as a fat fucking slob. I mean, it's every scene that he's in, he's eating some kind of junk food.
Oh,
And I'm like, really, like it's like in every scene, it's a new type of chip.
Yeah.
It's tortilla chips, Cheetos. She makes Gail like insults him about his weight. I'm like, all right, man, he ain't even that big. Chill the fuck out.
And Sid tries to get into the van, and then they notice on the camera that Ghostface is about to kill Randy, but then I forget the guy, the news camera guy.
He goes to run out to go to help him. He's like, he's behind you, kid. He's behind you, kid. And they open the door, and then
but
they see.
He realizes there's a 30-second delay.
Well, he remembers the 30-second day, and we see the front door open. And this is a good scene where Ghostface just slashes his throat.
Yeah.
Great scene.
And then again, so like at first you're like, okay, Sydney's gonna run to the driver's seat and leave. No, she climbs into like the back little
She
hole.
goes in the back.
She eventually gets to the front to drive, but she climbs into the back for like I don't fucking know what.
To escape, but it's the fact that she goes out the back of the van to escape
instead of getting in the front seat and driving the van.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume. I mean, to be honest, like obviously the camera guy is the one who drives the van, and I would assume that the keys would probably still be in the van.
Yeah,
he's
or
in
at
the
least
van.
on him.
Yeah. Well, then if it's on him, he's outside dead.
Okay, climb on him and get.
Well, that Ghostface is outside.
She's climbing out the back to go outside anyway. But so that all happens, and then Gail and them are making their way back. So Dewey and Gail come back. They realize that something was wrong, and Gail sees the puddle of blood next to the news van, and she's like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Well, Dewey's like, he tells her to go get help. Go get help.
And she gets in the van and tries to drive off, and then the camera guy falls off the roof on a thing. And she's like, God damn it, get off I'm so sorry, but get off my van.
Yeah, and blood is just smeared. That another cool scene. I don't know, this part's cool. This part's great. With the blood smearing on the windshield.
Yeah.
And it's not coming off
and
with the
she's
windshield
trying to go
wipers.
around circles to get him off the roof.
And then bam, here comes Sydney. Sydney runs back to the fucking house after she could, like what you said, if she just kept on fucking running.
Down the street, yeah,
but
you
she
get
runs
somewhere.
back to the house, and Gail nearly hits her, and then drives off. Obviously, crashes the van.
Yeah.
And then Sid goes back in the fucking house, and then we get the scene where we think Dewey's not going to make it. He's been stabbed in the back.
Stabbed.
Which apparently they were going to.
Which you couldn't tell at first because he's like stumbling out or whatever and seems fine.
Apparently they were going to kill his character off, but they liked it, and he said he did so well they didn't want to kill his character off, so they brought him back for the sequels.
That's good. So then Sydney tries to escape in Dewey's police car, and you get this little like cat and mouse game where she's like locking the door.
Yeah.
She thinks the keys are in it, but then Ghostface appears and has the keys.
Yeah.
So she's going from like passenger seat to driver's seat as he jumps up on each side, trying to like push the push button lock. And then inevitably, since he has the keys, he comes into the back of the station wagon. And Sid runs back into the house for the millionth time, and locks out Stu and Randy. And this is when you get Billy comes outside and is like stumbling down the steps, acting like he's hurt, essentially. And that is
Stu is basically explaining, saying like, oh, he's the killer, and then Randy's like, no.
Well, she opens the door to get help after Billy comes down.
No. She locked Randy and Stu out, and then Billy comes down the stairs.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's what I had said. But you're saying Stu is explaining.
Stu is explaining that Randy's the killer.
Oh yeah, when they're at the door, and he's like, "No, he is. He is. Let's get help." Blah blah blah. And essentially, Sydney has Dewey's gun. That's how she got a hold of a gun.
Yeah.
And she is like contemplating who to shoot, but doesn't know who to shoot because they're all being very confusing. And she gives the gun to Billy, or Billy takes the gun.
Yeah, because at the
and
point,
shoots
like you
Randy.
said, Billy has come down the stairs, which Billy should have been fucking dead already.
Oh yeah, because he got stabbed multiple times.
Yeah, and he comes down the stairs, and then we get to the point where, you know, this is when we start to realize, like, okay, like first, okay, maybe Billy's still alive, but then he's just way too healthy. He's walking around.
With it, yeah.
He's too with it. And when he takes the gun, and then and he does the whole we all go mad, we all go mad a few times or whatever. We all go mad at times or whatever by Norman Bates from Psycho, and then he shoots Randy. And then that's when you're just like, okay, obviously something fucking's going on.
Yeah.
Here. And then that's when we find out, it was fake and it was corn syrup. And then he let Stu in.
Yeah.
And then it's them too.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
And then you get this crazy kitchen scene where they pretty much unravel. They pull Sydney's dad out from some closet somewhere, and they unravel their plan to Sydney, which was on the 1 year anniversary of her mom's death. They were going to frame her dad as the widow that lost his mind.
Yeah, goes crazy, kills his daughter, and kills a bunch of kids, and then kills himself.
Yeah. But first, to make it seem real, Billy and Stu have to attack each other, but not kill each other.
Yeah, they're going to be the sole survivors of this this murder
but they have
massacre.
To make it look real.
Yeah.
So essentially, Billy and Stu just start stabbing each other.
This part, oh my God, this part when I was little was so fucking stressful. I mean, I like literally, this is one of those times when there's a couple of scenes when I was little, and when like I said earlier, like action violence was different than this kind of violence, and I didn't really start. I love horror movies now. I'm very into them. I very much enjoy them. But that didn't happen until I was 13 years old. And I watched Friday the 13th, and I was like, okay. And then I was like, and that was terrified, scared the shit out of me. I kept on thinking someone was going to stab me in my throat underneath my bed. But this movie, and at around the same time, the Romeo and Juliet movie came out with Leonardo DiCaprio, and that movie, the scene where they're all pointing the guns at each other and stuff like that. These two scenes of my childhood stressed me the fuck out.
That's funny.
But and then Stu, like I said, I'll come back to he's so fucking crazy in this scene.
Oh yeah, he does a really good job because essentially Billy goes too far and stabs Stu too much.
And then you actually, here's the crazy part. He's fucking crazy. He's a bad guy. And you start feeling sorry for him.
Yeah,
I'm like, you do a complete 180.
Because he's like, Billy, you're going too far. Billy, you're going too far. I'm gonna bleed out here, man. I'm gonna bleed out here.
And then the part where he's just like, Sid, did you really call my dad? He's gonna be so fucking mad. I'm like, oh my, I think I was 6. Like as a 6-year-old, I'm like, oh my God, his dad's gonna be so mad. He's her pain.
No. But yeah, so then a lot unravels. Gail's not dead, even though we thought she was dead, because Ghostface also inevitably attacked her as well.
Yeah, and that's when she comes in, and she's like,
tries to shoot him.
She changes the ending of the movie. Mind you, we kind of glimpsed over it, but I did want to talk about it. But we actually find out what is Billy's motive. Billy's motive is the fact that Sid's mom was a little bit of, a lady.
She was sleeping around.
She was sleeping around. A little bit of a floozy, or maybe just an older woman enjoying herself.
Whatever.
Anywho,
is she enjoying herself while she's married and someone else is married?
Were they still married? I couldn't remember if they her dad. Okay, maybe they were. Yeah, if they were still together. Okay, obviously that's fucked up. But yes, she slept with Billy's mom.
Yeah.
And Billy
she slept with Billy's dad.
Sorry. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That'd be a completely different movie.
There's a lot of he said, she said.
But anyway, so she slept with Billy's dad, and that Billy believes is the reason why his mom left and abandoned him.
Left him, yeah.
And that's which, that hits as being an older guy, as being an adult rewatching this movie, that scene just hits so much harder.
Oh yeah.
So much harder.
So now you get a motive. Gail, she's gonna end the story. She's gonna be the hero. But she also does not know how to take the safety off of a gun.
Yes. I believe it's red is dead. So if you see the red, then the safety's been turned off.
But also you should look that up before you listen to Logan.
Don't take your advice from a couple of YouTubers that talk about
Not a couple.
movie.
I'm not an accomplice. He's the one that tried to instruct you. I'm telling you to
Yes, Google it. I'm just saying.
Or find a good instructor. Or just,
take your gun safety courses.
Yeah. And so ultimately it's just a world of technical difficulties.
One of our lights, for some reason, even though battery was fully charged, has died. But anyway, we're going to keep on going.
Whatever. But so now you just get a bunch of massive kills. You think Gail's dead. She's not dead because they pretty much turn the gun on her and shoot her, right? Or knock her out with it.
Yeah, they do something. She falls back and hurts herself.
Yes.
I can't remember exactly how they hit her or whatever.
Yeah. So,
they shoot her. Yeah, they shoot her. Well, did they shoot her and she falls back? Because I know they shoot
don't
Randy.
know.
He falls back and
yeah, I don't know. This scene's just like a bunch of shit happening at once. But ultimately, Sid gets a hold of the gun.
Yeah, the gun goes missing. Sid gets a hold of the gun. And then
she also dresses like Ghostface.
Yeah, it's like you had all the time to get in the closet and put the
Yeah, because she was missing and they're running around the house trying to find her. And they're like, come on, come out, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And Stu's over there like dying already. And ultimately, Sid pops up and she's dressed as Ghostface.
She stabs Billy, and then then Stu runs after her, and then she gets the famous TV scene, crashes the TV on top of Stu's head,
TV.
which kills him or so, or until maybe Scream 7, we find out he's still alive. Who knows? But anyway, he's dead, and so after that, that's when we believe like everything's all safe, right?
Well, yeah, because she shoots Billy, she drops the tube TV. Gail
she stabs Billy,
yeah,
and then shoots Billy, right? And then
she drops the TV on him.
No,
I don't know.
Stu.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she shoots Billy. We think he's dead. Gail ends up still being alive. You don't know that Dewey's alive until the end when they put him in the ambulance and stuff.
Yeah.
And
then we get the
she helps get her dad unraveled or whatever because he's all taped up and stuff like that. And then they think
Billy's dead.
Billy's dead, and he's not. So they make a joke of like, this is where
the killer. Up. This is where the killer comes back for the one last scare.
Yeah, and she's like, not in my movie or whatever.
Yeah,
and he
shoots
him in the head.
And also, it's like that's what you're gonna do. Like when you're gonna like get up from being shot and go ah.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of silly, not even scary to be honest, but it's still rememberable.
But yeah, so then she shoots him in the head, and now you get your answer for who your killers were.
Yeah.
People go to the hospital. And it's all said and done.
And Gail's first on the scene to break the news to everybody because she was already there.
Yeah, and then also the way that Sydney found Tatum was when she fell down on the boat before she was running the house. We left that part out.
Yeah.
She looks up and Tatum was hanging from the garage, which is the super prosthetic arm. The end. Yeah, so
that's Scream.
That was all the kill. Yeah, pretty much the whole movie happens in those last even in my opinion, last 15 minutes is when the whole entire movie happens.
Yeah, and it's a big deal because like they make it very relevant when they were shooting it because it took so long for them to shoot the last part of the movie. I think they made T-shirts that I survived the last 42 or 46 or whatever of Scream or whatever. It was kind of like a big thing about on the cast because it took them so long to film the end part of the movie.
Oh yeah, it's a very dense end part.
A lot of shit happens. I mean, we were kind of like zipping through it because it's a lot of fucking shit.
Well, it's a lot of he said, she said, this and it gets confusing of who's doing what and where is who and it's a lot. But yeah, I am very happy that I brought up to watch Ghostface on our rainy-ish 4th of July because I really enjoy or not Ghostface,
Scream?
Scream. Yeah.
I was like, you can call it Ghostface if you want to.
Well,
That's
we just said Ghostface a bunch of times, so that was fresh on the tongue. But yeah, I'm really happy that we did watch Scream. That's like an actual quote unquote scary movie that I really enjoy, or like a slasher film that I enjoy, and I always find fun, and I also find funny.
Playing with your notes.
No, I was just cleaning them up, just like you did the same thing.
Oh yeah, no problem. But yeah, I mean, it's a great movie. And there's not really a lot to say about it. I mean, it grew up as a, like, we haven't already said. I mean, grew up as like a big franchise. The rest of the films. Like I said, this was not a movie. I like this movie. I think it's great. What's called? I don't feel the need to watch it a lot, but watching it is enjoyable.
Yeah, it's a good treat.
Yeah.
When you watch it every once in a while.
And then the franchise blew up. It's not one of like those. I was not. This was not dear to my heart as like a franchise I needed to follow. Like I said, I didn't restart like really watching scary movies till I was 13 years old. And at that point, I just was filling myself up with the classics and stuff like that. And then like kind of got to the point where like over the years, I finally like saw all the classics. And then
you had your preferences.
Yeah. And then I want to go for more like deep cuts. And like, so that's when I like, I do like slashers, but I like more like 80s style slashers. And
and I think depending on your age range, Scream was a lot of people's first, not necessarily their very first, but one of the first scary movies that they saw.
If you're around this age demographic and stuff like that, like obviously, like if you're a millennial, this is probably your introduction. To, like we said earlier, like they say it brought back the slasher genre, which it did. It was because there was no real good one slashers like coming out. You had your major core franchises, but that's about it. Because you can almost guarantee, okay, they're going to make another Friday 13th. They're going to do another, Halloween.
So that is Scream for you guys. Yeah. We appreciate you joining us
through all the technical difficulties.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys next episode.
Yeah, if you don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Yeah. If you are on YouTube watching us, click that little subscribe button and hit the little bell so you can get notifications when we got new stuff coming out. From here on out, like it is going to be video. So this is our second video one with the new backdrop that I like. I changed the seating around a little bit from the glare. Yeah. But and then if you're listening on your favorite podcasting app or whatever, can you please if you like it, give us a 5-star review or something like that. That'd greatly help us to reach more people and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And like always, whether we like it, love it, or hate it, we will talk to you guys about it. And this one definitely is a love.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a love.
Yeah,
yeah. Like I don't think no one hates it here.
Yeah, that's good. But all right, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Everybody.